This is the world's first electric snowboard.
Yeah, it's saying it's hitting 50 kilometers an hour.
And this is our very own Andrew, a big-time snowboarder who owns just about every snowboard created. What will a big-time snowboarder think of the Cyrusher Ripple? You see, Andrew prefers being dropped from helicopters rather than waiting in lift lines. But when there are no helicopters or ski lifts available, Andrew, the avid snowboarder, hopes this electric board can help him satisfy his snowboarding addiction.
Alright, I'm done.
If the mountains are covered with snow, we ride snowboards. And when the streets are clear, we ride one wheel to get that snowboardy feeling. But what happens if you live in an area where the streets and the mountains are covered with snow, but you don't have any ski lifts to take you up to where you want to go? Problem solved.
We have the first electric snowboard by Cyrusher called the Ripple. Speeds of up to 31 miles per hour, weighs 33 pounds though, so it's pretty heavy. It has a 3,000 watt motor. Pretty excited to check this thing out because I do love snowboarding.
If our snowboard had a baby with a one wheel, you would get this Cyrusher.
So this looks like the charger. It's a 12.6 amp hour battery, which is a Molicel battery cell. High quality battery, and the output of this charger is 50.4 volts with a 5 amp output. It should take you about 2.5 hours to charge from empty to full. It's a remote control. Pretty similar to our electric hydrofoil from Flightboard, where it has a knob to adjust up and down. This is the battery, 12.6 amp hours, 12S3P. Okay, so that's the battery setup. 635 watt hours. Supposedly this goes in a backpack and you carry it. This is pretty heavy. Yeah, they said the snowboard weighs 33 pounds, but I don't think they're including the battery with it as well. Got some instructions and one big power cord. So it goes into here and then this goes into the snowboard. Wow, this is pretty nice though. All the snowboards are one size, so you can't adjust the size. It's 156 centimeters. I'm used to riding 156. I ride between 150 to 162 centimeter board, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. This thing is heavy, I don't know. They're telling me that this thing weighs 33 pounds. I don't know about that. I think it weighs heavier. But it's got suspension. It looks like there's adjustable rebound, so you can adjust the rebound on there. But very unique. We've never seen anything like this.
There's no air that goes in this tire.
No air. This is just like a track system connected to a 3,000 watt motor.
One thing you'll notice is this board does not come with any bindings. So you'll have to either buy bindings or have your own bindings.
You can buy bindings from their website. They seemed a little bit expensive compared to traditional bindings. If you already snowboard, you should have some bindings that will work perfectly fine with this.
And one thing you guys probably don't know is Andrew is a snowboarding hoarder. So you go to his house and he's just got everything that has to do with snowboarding.
So it looks like it's trying to pair. I felt it to stop vibrating and I think it's gonna go now. Oh, that's pretty crazy. Seems like quite a bit of power.
Yeah. Oh, it's like 3,000 watt motor, you said?
Yeah, 3,000 watt motor.
That's a big motor.
Yeah, it's saying it's hitting 50 kilometers an hour, which is 31 miles per hour.
We are going to get this charged up. We're going to get our safety and snow gear on, and then we're going to go find some snow and give this a test.
So we've got some snow. It's actually a frozen lake down there. A little bit of a hard pack. A bunch of different terrains to try this electric snowboard on, and I'm excited to check it out. This thing is crazy. Got this connector. Pull out the remote. Power it on. Jimmy Chang says always wear protection, so I've got my safety gear on. Nice helmet, goggles, leather gloves to protect my hands. I should actually be probably wearing wrist guards. I've actually got some butt pads on. I'm an experienced snowboarder, but I do wear some thick butt pads because there's nothing worse than getting a zinger on your butthole. One thing about this is it is really heavy. So I've got to carry this even just like 35 feet. It's still pretty painful to do. So let's see how this does in this powder field right here. Yeah, it's not gonna move in here. In powder, you can see it doesn't get very good traction. So I'm not even gonna try that. I saw someone else riding this on like a cat track and they couldn't even get it going. And what a cat track is, to some people who don't know, is it's a groomed trail where it looks like corduroy, pretty packed stuff. So they couldn't move it on there. This is actually packed gravel with snow on top, and I think that would be the best bet. I was gonna try to get it out to the lake, but I gotta walk that thing far and it's heavy. So I don't really feel like doing that right now in some deep powder. It's having issues. See, I'm barely moving. This is the correct ground. Whoa, that's crazy. So I'm starting to move now. This is really slow. And I pretty much got to put all the weight on the rear. And if it's really anything deep, see I just hit a little bit deep patch. It pretty much stopped. Really only been able to go not even 100 feet on it, and then it dug into it. And this is pretty packed. They came and plowed this earlier, so it's not like it's super thick powder. It has something to grab onto, but it's still struggling. Pretty much packed snow. Oh, and it's, whoa. Okay, here I go. Here I go. This is pretty crazy right here. So it's gotta be like pretty much ground. If it hits any snow at all. I'm moving now. Yeah, starting in powder, this board is nearly impossible to get going. So you have to be pretty much on like hard pack, and this right here, as you can see, that's as far as my finger goes through it. So it's not even a half an inch of snow, but I got going pretty fast. And then turning on this thing is very awkward because there's so much weight in the rear. I was able to get on my frontside edge and complete that right turn, but very, very awkward. I could feel it still not wanting to move because there's just so much weight in the back, almost like an anchor. So I'm gonna try going back down. Okay, we're moving. We're moving. Hey, we're moving. We're going. Okay, hitting this powder patch. Oh yeah, see? If I hit powder, it pretty much slows down. All right, and now I'm stuck, and it's not like I have reverse. So no reverse function on here. But yeah, my initial thoughts are, it's not great, but I still had some fun. And if you live in a really flat area, it may be fun. Let me ride it some more, get some better angles for you guys to see what's going on, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it. Thank you to the folks at Instant 360 for sending us the X3. That's how I got these incredible shots. Holy cow, this is crazy too. Trying to get unstuck without unbuckling from your bindings, it's crazy. It's heavy. And oh, I did it. Phew! So we've got day 2 on the electric snowboard, the Ripple. It's cleared up quite a bit. It's not as powdery, but there's some tracks I can get on the lake. That was my most important thing that I needed to do. So now that I've had some time with the Cyrusher Ripple, this thing is pretty interesting. There is some things I do like about it though. I was thoroughly entertained. I could see myself liking this if I lived in a really flat place like Minnesota with tons of lake. Something that has a really cold place, flat, and then gets a little bit of powder, not too much powder, because obviously when I was riding this, I couldn't go very far in deep powder, or even slightly deep powder. The biggest thing that I like about this is just the unique appearance of it. When people see you flying down the road, I had a few people stop me and ask me what it was. They had no idea what this contraption was, how someone was flying down the snowbank pretty fast, surprisingly fast. And so that was pretty cool. The other big thing for me is this battery. It's a Molicel battery. This thing is nice. We rarely see Molicel batteries on PEVs just because they're more expensive. So I do like that they've used some high quality battery cells, but it is funny because Jimmy's son, he saw this when we were FaceTiming him and he said that it looked like the thing from Ghostbusters to catch the ghost, which I agree. The remote, it actually fits nice in your hand. It reminds me of the Flightboard remote. It does actually have reverse, so I didn't think that this had reverse, but it actually has reverse where you can press 2 buttons and it will go into reverse mode. However, when you're trying to pull yourself, it doesn't do very good, and it doesn't even do a good job going forward, pushing you. So pulling is even worse. I could never get it to go backwards, even though I had it in reverse mode. I do love how the remote feels, but I'll talk more about the reverse mode and things that I don't like. The other thing is this cable is actually really nice. I can walk the snowboard when it's not going to carry me, and this cord did really well of holding it in place and securely staying fastened to the battery and also the board. The other thing I like about it is if you live in a place where nobody can pull you with like an ATV or a 4-wheeler or a car, This is by far the best thing you can do to try to snowboard by yourself with no hills around, unless you were to build a hill yourself. Another thing I like about it is it goes pretty fast. I was surprised I was able to go, felt like over 20 miles per hour. So when I watched other videos on it, I didn't think that the Ripple was gonna go very fast, but to me, it felt fast, and I go fast on a snowboard. I pretty much had to be on a really packed gravel road with a little bit of snow on it for me to get going fast. But overall, there is a lot not to like about this. So let's go over the biggest issues. Is it doesn't work very well in anything deeper than 1 to 2 inches. So pretty much that's a big fail for me. I wish it had a little bit bigger paddle. It feels already awkward enough, so I understand why they tried to slim down that paddle. But overall, if they would have made it a little bit bigger, you could do traction in deeper snow. The Electric Snowboard is super expensive. For $2,500, I could buy a brand new snowboard, a ski pass, pay for flights and lodging, and enjoy a few weeks on the mountain. One of the biggest issues is how heavy the snowboard is. It says it weighs 33 pounds, just slightly over 33 pounds, but actually when I measured it, it was 37 pounds. That's just the snowboard without the battery. So carrying this thing with the battery and everything is close to 50 pounds. It's a lot to be carrying on your feet and also on your back, which leads me to another issue, is the design of a battery. Since you have to carry the battery on the back in a backpack, that's not gonna end up well if you land in a really hard spot and in the wrong spot on your spine. So I did not like that. Luckily for me, I fell into powder, but I didn't have that issue the second day, but it could have been detrimental on that really icy road. Another major issue with the design is it's really hard to hold an edge. And if you know anything about snowboarding, it's really important to hold an edge for control. So because you can't hold an edge well, you're always riding on the flats to gain some speed. As soon as you go into an edge, you can do it fine on a toe edge, but your hillside feels really squirrely because of the weight in the rear. And then on top of it, when you go to turn, it's nearly impossible to turn hillside if you're going slow. You can be done, but toe side turns are a lot easier on the Cyrusher Ripple. My biggest issue with the electric snowboard is that you have to ride in really sketchy areas in order for it to have some speed. So in order for you to have any type of speed, you have to be riding on a really hard surface, barely covered by any type of snow. And so when you fall, it hurts really bad. So I actually sprained my pinky finger. I can't even close my hand right now. Landed on my knee on the ice, landed on my back with the battery. They should actually provide you with knee pads and a backpack that is hard shelled, so that if you land on it, it's actually stable, or change the battery design to be thinner and it runs across my whole back. Another thing that I see problematic for people is that the Cyrusher Ripple only comes in one size. It's not gonna fit people who are super short, and it's not gonna fit tall people or heavy people. I do think that this is more of a novelty item. Instead of trying to offer different sizes, they just wanted to keep it simple. One of the biggest things I hate about the electric snowboard is it doesn't really ride like a snowboard. I love snowboarding. I spend a lot of time on the mountain in the wintertime because it's just so peaceful to go ride a snowboard. Unfortunately, this does fall short of the sensation of snowboarding. You can have a little bit of edge control, but it's really terrible and ultimately feels dangerous. So for me, the person who really actually has to enjoy this is someone who's willing to take some risk and get some bumps and bruises along the way, because it's not very stable at all.